I was born in Egypt and I came to Australia when I was 2 years old. My parents were both successful teachers. My dad had a tutoring company and he gave all that up just to come to Australia for my future. You know, they started from scratch. They didn't know much English and they didn't have much money because the currency was drastically different. I remember being brought up in a very Christian home. A home that was, you know, fearing God and always talked about God and always go every Sunday and go to church, make sure you memorize the Bible verses. I don't, you know, remember ever being, you know, that naughty kid. I was always that kind of good kid that, you know, memorizes the Bible verses, does the homework, and even at school I'd hardly get in trouble. The only time I remember getting in trouble was being late to school. But I mixed academics and God. The culture that we're brought up in, especially the Egyptian culture, is highly academic focused, and I could see that all around me. My parents didn't have to tell me, I could just see it. In church, you know, whenever a doctor walks past, or a dentist, or a lawyer, or you know, anything of high prestigious, you know, the people would greet them differently. I think that, you know, I wanted to be that person, I wanted to be that prestigious person, I wanted to be that, and this notion was drilled in from every angle, from school to church to home, you know, it was just a thing that I had to do. And I mixed God and academics together. I said that, well, everyone who's godly is also very either smart, does well at school, has a good job, but those who are not godly are usually those who don't stand. I remember always comparing myself to other people and you know, if I felt guilty at all with something small or something that I did, if I ever lied, I'd always say, oh, but that person is way worse than me. I remember one night at church, New Year's Eve, we had this thing where we filled out, I actually still have the paper. The preacher would give us this paper to fill out. It had 4 boxes, and after we fill it out, you know, we'd close it and put it in an envelope, and after a year, this envelope would come back to our address. One of the sections said, actions, thoughts, and habits in my life that are not pleasing to God. You know, I thought I was a good person. I didn't really do much wrong, I never did drugs. But when I was writing, you know, actions and thoughts, I realised that I was a bad person. I realised that there was no way that I could meet God's standards. After we filled them out, we had a message, and the guy that was talking, it's as though he was talking to me. And as the preacher was talking, he alluded to the fact that there is no one righteous, no, not even one, as Romans 3:10 said. And then he asked the question, if you were to die today, where would you end up? Would you go to heaven or hell? And you know, although I thought about that question before, my answer was always heaven, because you know, I've been a good person. I'd go to church, and I'd memorize all those Bible verses, and I was always that good kid. But I realised that one sin was enough to make me unrighteous. One lie, one hate was enough to make me not meet God's standards. 2 Corinthians says, God made him who knew no sin to become sin. So God became sin for me. God became sin for me. There was only one way for me to be right with God, and that's through Jesus Christ. I remember that night I was crying and I said, God, I'm sorry for everything I've done, and I truly believe that you are my God, and I truly understand that you died for me. I felt peace that night. I was just joyful, and when I went back to school the next year, I'd tell all my friends, and I wasn't much of a vocal person, but I'd tell all my close friends about God, and I even remember handing out tracts like this at school where, it'd have the Bible message and it'd ask questions like, where would you spend eternity, heaven, hell, and it'd have the Bible message, Bible verses. And I remember one of my closest friends, he took it and he ripped it and he threw it at me. But I didn't care because I knew that the message I had was the ultimate truth and that there is nothing that can separate me from His love. And my passion for sharing God's word with anyone that I met, it's because I love them. I started a Bible study at school on lunchtime, and it grew from 2 to 10 to 15, and we kept on reading God's word together. By no means am I perfect. I mean, I still have times where I doubt. For example, there's a very trivial story that when I was in year 9 or 10, I remember playing soccer at my parents' shop. It's an industrial area, it's Saturday, no one worked. My parents would have a takeaway and they were just cleaning and doing something from the takeaway. And I was kicking the ball on a 25-metre concrete wall, really high building. At the time I kicked it really high above the building and it went over. And I was upset. I'm in year 9, I like soccer, and it's like, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? And I was just like, oh, it's so hard, it's over. God can't even get this ball. I said it like that in a joking way. And then I went to the back looking for the ball. I couldn't find it, and I couldn't even see it. And then out of nowhere, this guy came with an industrial elevated lift, and he's like, mate, do you want me to get the ball for you? And when he said that, I was speechless. God works in small things that, might be trivial, but it just shows me, every day that He is alive and His hand's with me, and His hand's been with me ever since. God is real. God is powerful. He's not something of the fantasies or a Disney movie or anything like that. No, but this God is real, and He changes lives, and His word is real. And ever since that day where I really met God, my life has never been the same. My name is Shady Ekladious, and I am a broken chord.